welcome to Wheel of Wisdom, episode 144. I am Anisha. I'm a teacher on Insight Timer for about 3 years now, and I'm from India. So, this is a little bit about me, and I would love to know about you, like which part of the world you're joining us from. And are you here for the very first time? So, feel free to drop in a hi in the comments and yeah, introduce yourself if you feel called to do that. Hello, Nakisha. Nakisha says Grand Rising from Kentucky, USA. Welcome back. I am so happy that you are enjoying these lives, and it means a lot to see you here come again and again. So, yeah, thank you for being here. Um, since I guess you know about the format of this live, so I'm just waiting for a few seconds in case anyone new joins us. And if you are new here, feel free to drop in a hi. And until then, let me share the overview of what we do here. Okay. Nakisha says, yes, I love the games and all the knowledge that comes with it. That's the intention, Nakisha, to gain some knowledge while having some fun. It doesn't have to be serious so much. So I'm glad that you like that part. Okay. And anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? Otherwise, we will get started with today's live. Hello, Eve. Welcome back. Happy to have you here again as well. I am so, you know, happy that you guys are choosing to spend your precious time with me. Okay, so now let me give a very quick overview of what we do here because I see most of the people are regular ones only, but just in case, and then we will dive in. Okay. So, what we do here is we start this live with a meditation based upon a quote that you might have seen when you open Insight Timer app. So, we do a meditation to, soak in the knowledge of that quote and feed it to our subconscious mind. And then, once we are more centered after the meditation, then we move on to the second part of this live, which is going to be about some games. Meaning, we have a wheel of wisdom. On that wheel, we have names of all the transformational books that I have came across in my own journey. So we spin the wheel, the universe, God, divine, spirit, source, whatever you call it, chooses a book for us from that wheel that is going to be for our highest good. And then we play a game where I ask you guys to choose a number. We do a reading based on that. And yeah, things flows from there. So this is what we do here, an overview. I will share more details when we get to each part. But for now, I would love to know, are you guys ready for a meditation? So, like, are you settled in a quiet place or wherever you would like to meditate so that we can begin with today's meditation? Okay, Eve is ready. Wonderful. What about other people? And let me also drop in a message in the comments in case anyone joins us while we are meditating. So, just a second. Nakisha is ready as well. Ooh, Max is ready as well. Welcome, Kathleen and Max. Happy to have both of you here. Okay. Oh, Caitlin also joined us and she is ready too. Wonderful. Okay. So I have dropped in a message. And okay, Suze is ready as well. I love that all living beings are joining us in this safe space. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of water and then we all are going to meditate together. Okay. Caitlin has also bring up her body. Okay, let's see now. I am so excited about today's meditation, and I hope that every living being here has a good time. So begin by coming into a comfortable position. You can lie down or sit upright, whatever your body needs right now. As you begin to settle into this posture, notice your eyelids getting heavier and heavier until they close all the way down. And now your awareness has returned back to your inner world. So allow your awareness to rest on your breath. Noticing the air moving in and out of your nostrils. With each exhale, notice the tension in your body melting away. The worries in your mind are leaving your inner space as well, and you find yourself sinking deeper and deeper into relaxation. Today, we are going to meditate and absorb the wisdom from a timeless quote by Carl Jung. The quote is: "The heaviest burden for a child is the unlived lives of its parents." The heaviest burden for a child is the unlived lives of its parents. This quote reminds us that many of us carry the emotional burdens that were never truly ours. The expectations, dreams, fears, or pressures absorbed early on in our life. These old patterns can shape how we live now. Like we may feel responsible for other people's happiness. We might choose path that keeps people proud of us or comfortable with us. Or we may abandon our desires to avoid disappointing anyone. So, Jung's wisdom invites us to release these inherited burdens and reclaim the right to live from our own truth, from our values and our desires. So, as you let these words sink deeper into your consciousness, notice your body getting more and more relaxed, deeper and deeper into a peaceful state. Every muscle, every nerve, every cell of your whole body, from head to toe, is at complete ease. As you rest here, allow these affirmations to flow into your subconscious mind. I will repeat each affirmation 3 times. For the first 2 times, simply listen and let those words sink in. And on the third time, I invite you to repeat that phrase after me, either out loud or silently in your mind. So let's begin. Your life belongs to you. Your life belongs to you. Repeat after me. My life belongs to me. You honor what feels right for you. You honor what feels right for you. Repeat after me. I honor what feels right for me. Your needs matter. Your Repeat after me. My needs matter. You are worthy of a life that brings you joy. You are worthy of a life that brings you joy. Repeat after me. I am worthy of a life that brings me joy. You are enough exactly as you are. You are enough exactly as you are. Repeat after me. I am enough exactly as I am. You are responsible only for your own life, not someone else's. You are responsible for only your life, your own happiness, not someone else's. I am responsible for my own life, not someone else's. You create boundaries that support your well being. You create boundaries that supports your well-being. I create boundaries that supports my own well-being. You honor the parts of you that seeks care. You honor the parts of you that seeks care. I honor those parts of me that seeks care. You are supported when you follow your inner direction. You are supported when you follow your inner direction. I am supported when I follow my inner direction. You trust the truth that rises inside you. You trust the truth that rises inside you. I trust the truth that rises inside me. You express your truth with ease and grace. You express your truth with ease and grace. I express my truth with ease and grace. You choose joy, meaning, and alignment in your decisions. You choose joy, meaning, and alignment in your decisions. I choose joy, meaning, and alignment in my decisions. You give yourself the permission to change and evolve. You give yourself the permission to change and evolve. I give myself the permission to change and evolve. You are free to live in your own way. You are free to live in your own way. I am free to live in my own way. You did great. You have now planted the seeds of wisdom into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. And from now on, each time you repeat these affirmations, it will be like you are nourishing these seeds of wisdom so they can grow and bear fruits in your life. But for now, it's time to come back. Come back to your body, noticing the effects of this practice, gently beginning to wake up your body by bringing small movements like wiggling your toes and your fingers, moving your body in whatever direction it wants to be moved. Becoming aware of the sounds around you. And whenever you feel ready to come back, you can gently open your eyes, noticing your surroundings. Arriving back in the space. Welcome back. If you guys feel called to share your experience of the practice, you're welcome to do that in the comments, or maybe share your favorite affirmation and reaffirm that truth. And if you don't feel like typing it, that's perfectly all right. And I see that some new people have joined us while we were meditating. So, a warm welcome to you all. And in case you guys missed the meditation, which was upon today's Insight Timer quote, and you want to, go through the meditation again, I will share towards the end of this live where you can find it. But for now, we are going to move on to the second aspect, the second phase of this live, which is about receiving the message that wants to come through, given whatever is going on in your life. So, the message that wants to reach you at this point. Um, Nakesha says that I should do what makes me happy with my life and encourage my kids to find what makes them happy. Wow, that was the essence of today's quote exactly. And I love that you not only thought of it like you as a kid of your parent or you as a mother of your child, you included everyone in this circle. And that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing your reflection, Nakasha. Okay, so now let me show you guys the wheel of wisdom through which we are going to receive that message, that divine message that wants to enter our life. So, my dear ones, this is our wheel of wisdom, and this wheel contains the name of 50 plus transformational books that I have came across in my own journey of healing, of personal growth. So now what we're going to do is we are going to spin the wheel and let the universe, God, divine, source, consciousness, spirit, higher self, angels, whatever you believe in, choose a book for us from this wheel. Now, in order to receive that guidance that you most need, I invite you to first set an intention, and you can do so by thinking about what specifically is going on in your life regarding which you would like some guidance. Or if there is nothing specific going on, you can simply, ask the universe or God or whatever you believe in that what what guidance do I need today? And be open to receiving that message that is going to be for your highest good. So once you have either thought of something specific or you have, become open to receiving that message that will, help you move towards something meaningful in your life, I invite you to, once you have thought of something, let me know first in the comments by typing ready, and then we will spin the wheel and, let the book come to us. Okay, Nakisha is ready. Beautiful. What about others? Have you guys thought of something? Rainbow is asking, are you from India? Yes, I am, Rainbow. Janet is ready as well. Beautiful. Okay. And we have some hearts. So it seems like you guys have set an intention, set in direction. Okay. So now I invite you to hold whatever it is that you guys thought. Thank you, Caitlin, for letting me know. Okay, Eve is ready as well. Great. So, all of you guys, I invite you to hold whatever it is that you guys thought in your awareness as we spin the wheel. Okay, so the name of the book that came for all of us is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and It's All Small Stuff. by Richard Carlson. So let's see what this book wants to offer us. Okay, Eve has this book. Wonderful. Okay. And Kay says, I'm struggling with the mother wound and I am ready. I love your openness and I hope that you do receive some guidance regarding that, in today's live, Kay. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, my lovely ones. So let me open the book and then we are going to play a game. So give me a second. I'm just choosing the numbers for the game. Mm, okay. So, my dear ones, thank you, Rainbow. I'm glad that you find my voice soothing. And you're welcome, Kay. So, the instructions for this game is I invite you all to choose a number between two numbers. Okay, I will share them, in a moment. And as you do so, I do not want you guys to rush at all. Instead, take your time and see which number is coming up for you. Connect with your intuition and see which number pops up. And then share that number in the comments. I will go through all your numbers and pick a number that I am feeling intuitively called to. Okay? So, in this way, we will tap into our collective wisdom to receive the message that we all can benefit from. So, my dear ones, the numbers between which I would like you guys to choose are 16 to 143. I love your excitement, Janet. But I would invite you to choose a number between these because sometimes the initial numbers are like table of content or something like that. So yeah, if you are open to, I would love if you can give us another number. Thank you, Rainbow, for choosing a number. Thank you, Helena. Thank you, Janet. Anyone else who would like to share a number? Thank you, Nakisha. Okay, today we have pretty quiet comment section. Thank you, Kay. Okay, anyone else before I, pick a number amongst these? Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Eve. Okay, so let's see which number am I feeling most called to among these. Okay, so the number that I am feeling most called to is 112, and the number has been chosen by Nakesha for all of us. Thank you, dear. Okay, let's see what wants to come through this page. 112. Okay, so the heading that came up for this one is Do a favor and don't ask for or expect one in return. Do a favor and don't ask for or expect one in return. So, the author says, so often, either consciously or unconsciously, we want something from others, especially when we have done something for them. I cleaned the bathroom, so she should clean the kitchen. Or I took care of her child last week, so she should offer this week. Mm. Rainbow says, can you please also go through page number 77? Um, okay, we usually pick a number. But maybe, Rainbow, you can try with another book. And because we are going to do another reading, so maybe you can try with that one. I usually pick a number randomly amongst, for one book. One number for one book. Is that fine with you? Or would you still like me to go through 77? If if you want to, we can do that, definitely. Okay. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, so it's almost as though we keep score of our good deeds rather than remembering that giving is its own reward. Again, it's almost as though we keep score of our good deeds rather than remembering that giving is its own reward. This, as I'm reading this, and I have just read this much, but what is coming up for me was that how related it is with today's quote as well, because for so many of us, it was, kind of like our parents are doing so much for us, and then there is, expect us to follow do, um, to do the things to be a good boy, to be a good girl, to follow the path that they choose for us. So this can be like one of the things that might, lead us, that might be connected to today's code, that how we end up doing what our parents, um, couldn't, or what we can end up, absorbing and following their own path and living in their identity or their shadow sometimes. So, um, yeah, okay, coming back to the reading, and then I will read the comments. So, when you do something nice for someone, just do it. You will notice, if you are quiet enough inside yourself, a beautiful feeling of ease and peace. Just as vigorous exercise releases endorphins in your brain that make you feel good physically, your acts of loving kindness releases that emotional equivalent. Your reward is the feeling you receive in knowing that you participated in an act of kindness. You don't need something in return or even a thank you. In fact, you don't even need to let the person know what you have done. So, like it is said that give from this hand in a way that the other hand also don't know. So, instead of expecting something, do for the sake of it. And naturally, you get an instant reward in your brain, that feeling of ease, of peace, of warmth in your heart. And that is also designed because, we humans, evolutionary also, we need other people. And this giving part forms that connection. We need our tribe, we need our connection. So our brain automatically rewards these acts, even if we don't receive anything, in return from that person. And And it also, reminds me of something else that I read in another book where it was said that when someone asks us to do something, make a request, and we have the opportunity to meet their need, to make their life wonderful in some small way, then we should not, take it as, think of it as a burden. And we can think of it as a gift we are giving to another person every time, um, the other person wants us to do something. We can think of it as a gift rather than a burden, that we are making a difference in someone's life and we also get that reward. Of course, keeping in mind your own energy levels, your own, boundaries, your own everything, so it do not harm you. But we can, start doing a little these little acts of kindness, and they will be rewarding. um okay, let's see. So Rainbow says, I would love to, but okay, both ways. Okay, you're okay both ways. And Case says, I was also feeling called around that number, but please go with your intuition, Anisha. Okay, then let's go with 77 since both of you feel called to. And the last two numbers that I chose between were these, 77 and this one, 100 and 112. So, yeah, why not? Okay, so. Let's see what wants to come through. 77, that so many people are feeling called to. Okay, let's see. Okay. So the the heading or subheading part for this is argue for your limitations and they are yours. Argue for your limitations and they are yours. So the author says many people spend a great deal of energy arguing for their own limitations. That I can't do that, I can't help it, I have always been that way. I will never have a loving relationship, and thousands of other negative and self-defeating statements. Our minds are powerful instruments. When we decide that something is true or beyond our reach, it is very difficult to pierce through this self created hurdle. When we argue for our possession, it's nearly impossible. Suppose, for example, you tell yourself, I can't write. You will look for examples to prove your possession. You will remember your poor essays in high school, or recall how awkward you felt the last time you sat down to write a letter. You will fill your head with limitations that will frighten you from trying. In order to become a writer or anything else, the first step is to silence your greatest critic, which is you. I had a client who told me I will never have a good relationship. I always screw up. Sure enough, she was right. Whenever she met someone, she would, without even knowing, look for reasons for her new partner to leave her. If she were late for a date, she would tell him, I'm always late. If they had a disagreement, she would say, I'm always getting into arguments. Sooner or later, she would convince him that she wasn't worthy of his love. And then she would say to herself, see, it happens every time. I will never have a good relationship. She had to learn to stop expecting things to go wrong. She needed to catch herself. in the act of arguing for her own limitations. When she started to say, I always do that, she instead needed to say, That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I don't always do anything. She had to say that arguing for her limitations was such a negative habit that could easily be replaced with a more positive habit. Today, she is doing so much better when she reverts to her old habit. She usually laughs at herself. I have learned that when I argue for my limitations, very seldom do I disappoint myself. I suspect the same is true for you. Okay, I do. I'm really happy that we read that one. And now I also get that why I was, confused between these two numbers. This number as well as the one from Nakisha, and I chose hers. Okay, so let us first go through the comments and then I will share what's coming up for me. Nakisha says, I this is what I needed to be reminded of to share with my brother. He reached out to me for the first time in almost 5 years and is struggling mentally. Thank you, Nakisha, for sharing that with all of us here. And and I'm glad that you got something from that, reading that we did. And you were guided for what to do because it, it might be confusing and it might also make you feel helpless sometimes, especially when a loved one is suffering. That what do I do for him? How can I help him? Or what is the right thing to do here? So I hope that, even if you don't know the exact right thing to say, the exact right thing to do, you can find what might be possible for you in this situation is to be with him or to let him know that you are with him, you're here for him in whatever manner he needs, and then you can figure out together what can be of help, further on. So thank you for sharing that. And Rainbow says, Now I know why this number called me. And Kay also says, This is resonating so much. And Kay asks, What is the opposite of arguing for our own limitations? So, hmm, it's challenging them. There are different ways to deal with that. I love the way the author puts it, and to put it in a very simpler manner is the negative thoughts that we have that, say that I can't, that I'm not worthy of this, that I always screw up, that I'm a lazy person, I have always been that way. So we have all these negative thoughts, and what our brain does is, so the reason that we have these negative thoughts is because we have the beliefs from which these automatic thoughts pop up in our head when we encounter a similar situation in which those beliefs got rooted. And the the thing is that this whole cycle goes on. Okay. So you have these limiting beliefs in your subconscious mind. They pop up in the form of an automatic thought, a thought that automatically pops up when you are in a certain situation. You feel a certain way and you behave in a certain way, just like the example that she gave, that she believes something about herself or about her capacity to have relationships, or and then she manifested that, and that is the loop. We um because of the thoughts that we have, we feel a certain way, and because of the way we feel, we end up saying some things, doing some things that gives us the results, which eventually feeds into the original thoughts or the beliefs that we have, and it strengthens this whole thing. And every time this happens, We believe even more in our, in our limiting beliefs that I'm not capable, that I can't do this, that, I would never be happy, that I would always be alone, whatever it is for you. And and one more thing that the author mentioned was that what happens is when a thought pops up, and if we have a belief, then it is just not a single belief. It is standing on a lot of evidence, a lot of things, a lot of other beliefs. So that is why it is easier for us to gather all these evidences, to remember all the exact situations that support this negative belief of ours that yes, I am going to be alone for the rest of my life, for example, you know, because it would remind us of all the past failed relationships. And that is how our brain works. That is how, our whole mental world survives. Because if we start to question these beliefs, then our mental world would be like, no, it is not safe. I have built a structure here. So now, and these beliefs are very, 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 clever. They also let in the information that is aligned with these beliefs, so we don't see the world in any other color than what we are already seeing. And we do, because we do not let in any other evidence, we ignore it, we minimize it. If we have a good if we, for example, with this thing, if we had a good date, then we would come up with something else. We would minimize it, that yeah, I it's okay, I had a good date, but I am going to screw the next one up. So we minimize it. There are a lot of different tricky ways in which our mind tries to suppress any other evidence that contradict our beliefs. And that is why we need to go out of our way. We need to consciously do this process of becoming aware when these beliefs, when these thoughts pop up, and of questioning them. Or, so there are two ways to deal with these thoughts. One is that you question them, you challenge them, okay? And that might work, especially that might be helpful if you are new to this process, so that you can learn that your mind is not always telling you the truth. And later on, you can simply, just label it that, yeah, this is just another thought, and you can let it go. There are two different approaches, or maybe not so different. You can try the first one, first challenging, finding evidence against this belief. If it says that I am going to be alone for the rest of my life, then giving it all these other evidences, contradictory evidences, the things that your past relationships in which your partners liked about you, So, like, you know, trying to collect all these evidences, and they might not come to you at the first attempt. And that is why it might be helpful to do this process with someone else, and like a coach, a therapist, or something. But once you start to question them, you will soon realize that these beliefs do not hold much, you know, substance. And then you can simply label them and let them go, label them and let them go. So that is the opposite of, you know, the process arguing for your own limitations that you asked, Kay. I hope that you got your answer. And if you need support in doing what I just said, then I do have three resources for you. Okay. The first resource that I have for you is to help you understand this whole cycle as to how we are manifesting our own reality, as the author said in the example, this whole cycle, as well as what are the limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind that are hidden away from your conscious mind but are controlling your whole mental world and your life, eventually. So, if you would like to first learn about them, to, shine the light of your awareness on them so that they no longer control you, you can, save this particular course, and it will help you find those sneaky beliefs. Um, and then, if you would like to, learn about all the different ways of thinking that are not serving you, that are, um, that are in the author's word. You are, okay, let me find that word. Mm, yeah, arguing for your limitations. Yeah, so Yeah, so if you would like to learn about all the different ways in which most of the people think negatively, which impact their life negatively. So if you would like to learn all the patterns, then you can check out this course. And I have specific strategies dedicated to these patterns. And especially, you might want to look into minimalization as well as disqualifying the positive. These are the two ways in which our brain suppresses any evidence that is not going with our beliefs. So that would, I hope that that would be insightful for you. And the third and the final course, which will help you challenge these beliefs, the things that I mentioned, that if not, believing these negative beliefs, then what is the opposite? So the opposite would be challenging them and seeing the truth behind your thoughts. So if you want to learn different ways of challenging them and then replacing them with the ones that support you as the person did in the example, then you can check out this particular course. You can save it for later. So I hope that, yeah, these three resources would cover this whole topic. Okay, I'm glad that you find them useful, Kay, as well as Janet. Okay, let me go through the rest of the comments and then we will move on to the next reading. Okay, Nakisha says, okay, the opposite would be ignoring them to just let things continue. Yeah, so, you know, the second approach that I mentioned, not ignoring, I would use the word, but the word I would use is maybe acknowledging them and then letting them go and continuing with what you were doing before or what you need to focus on. So, yeah, so that would be, the other way. But I would recommend first trying the challenging thing because you really need to see the truth of your beliefs. Otherwise, you might feel like you're suppressing them in some way. Uh, and then moving to the second approach. Thank you, Nakisha, for sharing that. Rainbow says, thanks, Anisha. It was a wonderful book reading. I will have to be somewhere, so see you soon. I am glad that you enjoyed the reading, Rainbow, if you're here. Um, and Kay says, yesterday I randomly picked out the book The Power of Now from my bookshelf, recommending as in it. The author talks about a lot about automatic negative beliefs and replacing them. Yeah, we have this on the wheel, Kay. We have The Power of Now as well as his other book as well, I think A New Earth on this wheel. And yeah, that is a wonderful book. Thank you for mentioning that. And Kay says, thank you, Anisha. I found this transformative to identify those a few years ago. And I am probably due a refresh. Yeah, we all are. Okay, so now let's move on to the second reading for today. So, anyone who joined us just now, I invite you guys to take a moment and ask yourself, what do I need guidance on today? And hold that in your mind as we spin the wheel. Casey's thanks so much, all. Have a beautiful day. You too, Kay. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you here again. In case anyone else is also planning on leaving, I've put up my next live, and I hope to see you there. Okay. And for the ones who are staying, I invite you to hold whatever it is that you guys need guidance on in your mind as we spin this. So, the book that came for all of us here is The Mindful Path to Self Compassion, Freeing Yourself from Destructive Thoughts and Emotions by Christopher K. Gurmer. So, let's see what this beautiful book has to offer us. And until I open the book, in case you guys have been enjoying this live, and in case you guys feel like supporting me to keep the space alive, you're welcome to make a donation Again, there is no compulsion, only if you feel called to and only if you're able to. Um, okay, let's see. Where's the book? I'm choosing some numbers for the game. Okay. So, my dear ones, in a moment from now, I am going to ask you guys to choose a number between certain numbers. Thank you, Kay, for this kind gift. I am glad that the reading touched you in such a deep manner, and I wish you that this kindness returns to you in beautiful, unexpected ways. So, thank you. Um, Yeah, I was sharing the instructions. So I invite you all to share a number between 54 to 274. Again, no rush at all. Take your time and see which number comes up. And I will pick a number randomly out of those. Okay. Oh, Heather was quick. Thank you, Heather. Casey's apologies. The book I mentioned is actually called the Get the Life You Love Now. Okay, that is a new one. I haven't heard it. And I would check it out. Thank you for the recommendation. Let me write it down. um, okay. Get the life you love now. Oh, such an amazing title. Okay. Welcome, Amelia, and thank you for sharing that number. Thank you, Nakesha. Anyone else who feel called to share a number can do so. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, so let us go through these numbers and pick one. Okay, so the numbers that I'm feeling called to, and why I say numbers because they are like simultaneously. And the numbers are 179 and 180 by Kathleen and Amelia. So let's see what wants to come through from these pages. They are adjacent, and I do am feeling called to both. So let's see. 179. Mm. Okay, interesting. So the heading for this is loving others without losing yourself. So we did talk about in the last reading of, those act of kindness, of loving kindness for others without expecting anything in return. And I did touched upon a little bit that it doesn't mean that we have to cross our boundaries. And now this has come up. And yeah, Kathleen, it is resonating so much with Kathleen. Okay, so let me see what the author wants to convey. So, loving others without losing yourself. The author says each individual needs to find a healthy balance between self care and caring for others, between having an authentic personal voice and staying connected, and between the need for solitude and the need for relationship. For example, after a day of caring for her two young children, the last thing a woman may want is sex with her partner. What she may really need is quiet, solitary walk or to receive some thoughtful attention. How do we love others without losing ourselves? People differ in how much they enjoy connecting with others. Women seem to have a greater appetite for connection than men do. They also seem to like meta meditation more. I have even heard some men, but rarely a woman, say, I hate metta, which is loving kindness. Whether you are a male or female, try to know, accept, and trust your own personal tolerance for connection. During my, okay, no, I'm not feeling called to that one. Hmm. Okay, so yeah. So the next thing is when me, when others, which is on page number 180. So when you are in pain, give yourself compassion first. Heal the healer. Sometimes a micro moment of self compassion is all it takes. Take the typical morning in an American family under time pressure to prepare kids for school. Mom or dad may not recognize his or her rising stress levels and inadvertently blurt out something like, why are you always so unhelpful, Sean? When that happens, try to soften into the catastrophe of the moment. Think for a second, stress, and then say, may I be peaceful. May I be at ease. May we all be peaceful and at ease. Even before you get up in the morning, start repeating the phrases. Then keep yourself in the picture by using the phrases whenever you need them. So, so we often hear that being kind to ourselves, being compassionate to ourselves, and now we got a way to do that, which is to turn meta or loving kindness to use those phrases, whenever we need them or early in the morning so that they set the intention for our day, they prime our mind. So when you wake up, and why I'm laughing is because I do that very same practice. I in fact have an alarm. Okay, let me show you guys. I don't know if you can read it, but yeah, so this alarm says, good morning, Anisha. I love you. May you be kind. It is cutting off. But yeah, may I be kind to myself. So, you can create something of your own and, start your day with kindness. And the way you can do is you can place a hand on your heart and repeat to yourself that may I be at peace. May I be, you know, may I love myself today, or may I be healthy. You can use the traditional meta phrases, which are may I be safe, may I be healthy, may I be happy, may I live with ease. Or you can create your own version. Ask yourself, what do I need today? For example, if you have a lot of to do lists today, send this kind wish to yourself that may I find a moment to myself today. May I find a moment of wonder. So ask yourself, what do I need today? And give yourself this, wish and start your day off with that. And not just a morning practice, you can do it anytime, whenever you are feeling discomfort of any sort, whenever you're feeling distressed. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? And send yourself a wish for that, that may I receive that, in some manner. And that's it. That's it. And that is the response of the author as well, that when do I give myself the compassion and when others. So when you see others in pain, okay, so leaving others, but firstly, noticing whenever you start to feel like I need some compassion, I need some love right now, I need some care. So whenever you notice a pain, whenever you notice suffering, whenever you notice discomfort, whenever you notice distress within you, start with yourself and give yourself compassion in whatever way. It can be meta, it can be some other way. And then go into the world and share that love with others. So I hope that it resonated with you, Kathleen and Emilia. And if it, resonated with anyone else, or if something else is coming up for you guys, you're welcome to share that in the comments. Okay, one more thing wants to come out from me, which is that when you notice, suffering in another, there is first a difficult feeling in yourself, an unpleasant feeling in yourself. So always, so if we are worried that when to be compassionate for others and when to be compassionate to myself or who to prioritize, always notice what is happening inside of you and start there. If there is pain, if there is suffering, then that needs to be addressed first, that needs to be attended to first. And then you can give your attention, your awareness, your love, or whatever it is to anyone else. Yeah. Okay, Kathleen says, yes, it did. Emilia says, yes, indeed. It all starts with us. Exactly. Okay, I'm glad that it resonated with both of you. And it is time to wrap, but I'm not feeling like it. I feel like let's do one more reading. Okay, yeah, let's do it. So, guys, we will have one more reading for today and then we will wrap this live. So, my dear ones, again, in case anyone new joined us, I invite you to, ask yourself, what do I need today? What guidance do I need today? And if there is nothing specific going on in your life or no answer comes up, ask the universe, what guidance do I need today? And hold that in your mind as we spin this wheel. Okay. So the book that came for all of us is Practical Mindfulness by Kim Davis. This is the same book that came up, I think, yesterday. I mean, in previous live or in the one before that. Okay, let's see what wants to come through this book. So give me a second to open the book. and choose some numbers for us. And until I do that, in case you guys feel like, supporting me to keep these lives going on, and if you would like to make a contribution towards creating more resources for everyone so they get what they need the most whenever it is that they need it. So if you would like to make a contribution, you're welcome to do that. Always, there is no compulsion at all, you know, only if you feel called to. Okay, let's see what wants to come through from this book. Hmm. Okay. So, my dear ones, now the instructions for this game is I am going to ask you guys to choose a number between certain numbers. No need to rush. Pick a number that you are feeling called to. Share that in the comments. I will go through your numbers. Pick a number that my intuition feels called to. And then we will do a reading from that page, from the highlighted part of that page. So the numbers between which I would like you guys to choose are 20 to 122. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Beatrice. Anyone else who would like to share a number, you guys can. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Kristen. Hmm. Anyone else? Okay. So let me go through these numbers and pick a number that I'm feeling most called to. So the number that I'm feeling most called to is 38, and the number has been chosen by Beatrice for all of us. Thank you, dear. Okay, let's see what wants to come through page number 38. So the author says, trust in your struggle. Trust in your struggle. As you attend to your personal experience, you may become aware that the same irritants crop up again and again in your daily life. Perhaps a recurrent worry always invades your mind when you try to sit and breathe. Mindfulness can help us notice negative patterns and eventually to take action to change them. This can take time, and there may be moments of frustration or despair along the way. Trust that your struggles have something to teach you. So, two things are coming up for me. The first thing is to ask you guys that if you are struggling with something, to reflect that if a lesson, a new skill, if something wants to come up in your life, if something new wants to come up in your life, then what it is through the struggle. So, what is the lesson that the struggle is trying to teach you? What is the skill that the struggle is helping you harness? What is the qualities that the struggle might help you develop? So, think about your struggle and ask yourself this question: what is it trying to teach me? Because when we reflect on the hardest times in our life, at least when I do, I, you know, realize that some of the struggles actually changed me as a person, changed my perspective, my whole perspective of life. And some taught me patience, taught me compassion. They were more of opportunities to practice those skills, to hone them. And when I was able to do that with the difficult struggles, it built confidence, self trust that if I can go through this, I can go through anything. So, what is it that your struggle wants to cultivate within you, wants to bring into your life? If you feel called to, you can share that in the comments if something is coming up for you. Because right now, what I am struggling with is the pressure to, you know, s- to like succeed on something that I've started. And I failed once. I'm failing twice within like the last 2 weeks. And again, I'm getting this reminder you know, to find my pace, to find my rhythm, and to embrace it. And I do not need to overdo it. So that is the message that I'm getting. And that is the lesson that I want to learn. I learned that lesson once and then I pushed again, and that lesson came up again. It is trying to come up again on me. So that is my share from this from this reflection. You're welcome to share yours. And the second thing that is coming up for me is that a lot of us who are into the self improvement, self help, this personal growth and all of this, those of us who are like self aware and we know a lot of different things, we know about our patterns, it becomes pretty frustrating when we notice them again and again popping up in our mind, in our head, in our life. You know, um, when we know that this is happening and we are like, I don't want this. So we get frustrated when we see ourselves getting entangled in the same things again and again and again and again. And now this time we are mindful about it instead of being ignorant. There's the saying that goes like ignorance is bliss. And sometimes we wonder that maybe it was. Now I am like too aware of all of this and it might be frustrating. So if that is the case with you, then what you're lacking is compassion, which was our the reading before. So whenever you notice that pattern, instead of saying, oh, this again, you know, instead of going into that direction, we can go towards, okay, this is difficult for me to notice this again and again, to see this, that I haven't completely healed or something. So reminding ourselves that what I need in this moment is compassion, that it is hard for me to it was harder to be honest with myself and recognize this pattern, and now it is harder to see it coming up again and again. So again, whenever you notice suffering, meet it with compassion, and that is the antidote that you need to this particular pattern or anything in life. Emilia says it's helpful to be mindful and use introspection to call the growth and lessons from past struggles while going through the current ones. Mhm. Yeah, it helps us to gain much more clarity and hope and a lot of different things when we do that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And Amelia continues. I usually think to myself, I have no clue what I'm to learn in this situation. But I know I be wiser on the other side of this. Thank you for saying that, you know, because sometimes you might get in this trap that I don't really know what the lesson is. I really want the struggle to be over and just learn the lesson and get over with it. And we get stuck with, I don't really know and I want to know what the lesson is because since you are, and since you guys are here, you might be into the spiritual stuff and you have heard this before that something is trying to teach you something. So it's okay, you don't know. Your future self would know it. And it's okay that you don't know right now at this point of your life. And I love how you put it that trust in the process, that trust in the struggle, that I know something good is going to come out of it. I know that I'm going to be wiser, I'm going to be stronger, I'm going to be this or that. There is going to be some kind of positive change in my life, or I am moving towards the highest good. So just trusting that and that's all you need. You do not need to know the perfect lesson, and it's okay. And if you know it, you can act on it and you can apply it. But the main thing that I'm getting from this before I continue reading is that the faith part, the trust part, the trust in the process, in life, in yourself as well. That that I'm going to be okay. After this, I am going to be okay. Or even throughout this, I'm going to survive this. Just trust in that, this faith in that. So you do not need to beat yourself up for not being able to find your lesson or find something or find some meaning in this thing, but just trusting, just the faith of it. And that is enough to help you go through this without without letting your doubt your overpower you, without letting your mind do things to you. Okay. Kathleen says, every part of today resonates with me. I am so happy to hear that, Kathleen, that you received the guidance or the support or you felt held in the session today. Thank you for sharing that. Means a lot. Kristen says, I find there isn't always a lesson other than to further open our hearts. Thank you, Crystal, for saying that. Exactly. We do not need to then get stuck in finding a lesson, finding a meaning, finding this or that, and thinking that there is something wrong with me for not figuring it out, or I'm going to stay stuck until I figure it out. But just trusting that it is going to open our hearts, that it is going to just open something in our life, a door, a direction, and it is going to be a wonderful journey ahead. It is going to be an adventurous journey and it is going to be a fulfilling journey. And it's okay if you don't know the specifics of it. So, yeah, I agree with you, Kristen. Definitely. Okay. So now I feel complete. I'm glad that we did this another reading, bypassing the time limit. And yeah, and I'm grateful that you guys stayed for it till the end. And in case you guys are new to me or new to the space, I want to let you know that um, where you can find this live in case you missed it or you want to do the meditation again, because with affirmations, the more we practice them, the more stronger they get rooted. So, where you can find today's live is hello, Leslie. Okay. Yeah, I guess you are just in time. I was just going to mention where you can find this live. So maybe you can watch the replay if that's okay with you. Um, okay, my dear ones. So, where you can find today's live and all the previous live in the series of Wheel of Wisdom is you can go to my profile. you can go to the About section there. This profile is on Insight Timer. So when you go to the About section and scroll down, at the bottom, you will see something like this. And here you will find, today's live, which is episode 144 of Wheel of Wisdom and all the rest of ones. Okay, then I would look forward to hearing how you find it, Leslie. And yeah, okay, Heather says, thank you so much for your guidance, kindness, and time. Oh, I loved having you here. Kathleen says, thank you, Anisha. You are so welcome, dear. And before you guys leave, I want to share one more thing, which is that, if you want to do something, to make some change in your life in towards a positive direction, and you are looking for some support, some guidance, someone to walk with you as you go through that, as you make that change, as you know um become more mindful, become more present, intentional, whatever it is for you, then I do have, like, s- three places where you can find all the resources that I've created for you. I will not go deep into them. I will just share where you can find them so that you can, go to them after this live. So, the first place where you can find the resources are, you can go to my home section on my profile on Insight Timer. And when you scroll down all the way, just above my group, where I also share a summary of this live, you will find a playlist. And in the play, you can, go through all these four playlists. I've organized all of my tracks in the form of these playlists and see which one, is it that you need. And so this is the first place where you can find all of the resources. The second place is the courses section, just nearby the home one. And here you will find all of my 7 courses here on Insight Timer. I already shared 3 courses with you regarding negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. And you can find the rest of the ones here regarding, living more mindfully, intentionally, and feeling more alive and peace in your daily life and stuff like that. So this is the second place where you can find all of my resources. And the third place is, so if you go through these two, places, playlist and courses, and you do not find what you need right now or what you are looking for, or if you would like more personalized support or guidance, then you can go to the About section in my profile and you can scroll all the way down to here. And here you will find a way to work with me, to talk with me, and to receive whatever kind of support or guidance that you need right now in terms of whatever is going on in your life. And you will also find some surprise gifts here. So, yeah, I guess these are all the 3 places where you can find everything I have to offer. So, that's it for today's live. Thank you so much for staying till the end, even if we extended it for a little bit more time. And, thank you for your presence, for all the lovely interaction and the hearts. And thank you for the support, Kay. I appreciate it. And thank you so much. I bow down to the divine within you all. Emilia says, thank you as always, Anisha. You're so welcome, Emilia. Happy to have you here. And let me put my next live here as well, which is day after tomorrow at the same time. And I would love to have each and every one of you there. Okay, so till then, bye bye. Take care. Thank you, dear Leslie. I am I'm honored and I'm so grateful for this recommendation. Okay,